Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. You know how Kanye West is getting out of politics, Amy? Right, he's going to focus on...
Yeah, he broke up with... Well, he didn't break up with President Trump because he did not, there's no defamation of character there. He just said he's taking a step back from politics. He's felt used and abused, Dan.
Right. Not doing politics. He's going to focus on entertainment. Report this morning, he gave another $126,000 to Amara Enya.
Did he really?
For her mayoral race. Why 126? Wow. I guess, did he give her 74 before? So
he gave her 73,000. Well, no, 74,000 to pay off that debt.
So that makes it an even $200,000. I was just wondering, 126 is an odd number.
And 73 cents?
No.
Yeah.
Kanye.
That is weird.
All right, well, maybe he's getting out of politics. He's just going to stay involved in Chicago's mayor's race. All right. Well, we'll watch that closely.
Sure. Okay.
For the rest of us, outside of concerns about Chicago politics, concerns about economic growth, October jobs report, the last jobs report before Tuesday's election, of course, pretty good. 250,000 jobs. Unemployment rate stays at 3.7. It's a fictional number, so multiply that by 2.5. Wage growth is real. 3.1% wage growth now this year, and participation rate in the in employment popped up a couple of tenths of a point as well to 62.9. So good news all around, probably enough, combined with the fact that you dressed up as Scott the Cow Guy for Halloween.
Yes, one of my many functions. One person knew exactly who I was and actually was so impressed that Scott sent that directly. Well, you got one too, but directly to the station.
So the combination of somebody else in Chicago knowing who Scott Shellady is, plus these good numbers, has to buoy the spirits of one Scott the Cow Guy who joins us now. Scott, thanks for being with us.
Good morning. Good morning.
So how about those October numbers?
Yeah, this is going to be, it's nice. It's like an offensive lineman report, right? Not too flashy, but very solid. And it's going to really let the government off the hook, I think, because the mess that we got ourselves into with quantitative easing, and I don't want to go into it because it is really boring, but the government really got in our back pockets and started handing out money like it's candy. And this type of report, if we continue to have things like this, is really going to let them off the hook and let them get out of that mess with relatively pain-free. The rest of the world is still in that mess, but this is a type of report that is going to help the government really kind of heal their wounds after what we've been through the last 10 years. And you're right, wage growth, we haven't seen numbers like that in 10 years, Dan and Amy. I mean, there's some things in here. This participation rate number flipping up like that, we're bringing people in off the sidelines to start working again. Well, this is amazing. So it's very, very solid.
Wow. So with this wage growth, do you know what sector of the workforce that the wage growth, benefited the most?
No, and well, all of them. I mean, if you pull over and take a look under the hood, a ton of things, even the dirty fingernail jobs are doing well. So, I mean, it's a pretty well-known stat that we've got 7 million open jobs and only 6 million people to fill them. Right? The problem is finding the right person for the right job, but we have a surplus of jobs out there of 1 million. So, I mean, it's amazing to me. I'm actually in from London. I'm in Chicago. That listening to these politicians, I mean, how can you run against the Republican and the Republicans in this economy? I mean, you can't. And the reason why I say you can't is that all these commercials, both in Indiana and in Illinois, all they focus on are guns and abortion. They can't say anything about immigration and the economy because this is amazing. I mean, we haven't had numbers like this in 10 years. So I don't know how you look any other way except at the conservatives because this is exactly the type of economy and these are exactly the type of numbers that are going to put us in good stead going forward for the next couple of years.
Yeah, well, it turns out that, and this is something, we're getting a little off topic for you, but it turns out that people are interested in more than just dollars and cents issues, and something the Republican Party hasn't figured out, particularly in Illinois, but elsewhere as well. The Beltway Republican Party just doesn't get it. There are other issues that people are concerned about. Life is not just about economic man and economic woman, but that's where you're at, so we'll stick in your core competency. And I want to.
Well, I mean, if you don't have a job, it's hard to worry about anything else. That's where
I understand. That is true. But I mean, once there's some stability on the economic front, then people's minds wander to other issues too, and also there's just other things that that lead one to live a complete life. But I don't want to get metaphysical on Scott the Cow Guy here. So here's my question though. So with what you're describing, the economy you're describing, the Apple third quarter report, which was robust, Apple's profitability. Why are we seeing? I mean, even though with the 2-day rally, why are we seeing the big tech sell-off?
Yeah, because they made more money but sold less phones, and they won't really talk about it. And for a long time, all the analysts have been looking at iPhone and really only look at how many units they sell. And although they did better than expected as far as money, and that really should come down to it, right? I mean, that's like these fictitious retail sales numbers that we talk about, right? Who cares about retail sales? I want to know about retail profits.
Yeah.
But that's a whole nother issue. So they made more money. We should all be happy about that. But these analysts, they get all hung up on how many units. And Apple's been kind of coy and quiet about it here over the last 18 hours. So that's got those guys kind of riled up a little bit. But, I mean, it's amazing that they get riled up over them making more money. I mean, isn't it really the dollars and cents of the bottom line is really supposed to be the bottom line? But analysts have a different way of looking at things.
But I mean, so with the quantitative, we're still not completely unwound. But with, as you said, this report, if this continues to churn like this, maybe we get out of quantitative easing somewhat unscathed. Combined with good earnings reports, does that mean we're not going to see a market correction and stay the course with respect to your position on equities in the market?
Well, am I reading the tea leaves here, and you're worried about how many cigars you might own? Oh, Sean,
exactly.
I don't know about that.
That's right. That's right.
Something's in it for
Well,
him.
I'm not worried about it. I'm counting how many cigars will be owed to me. Yeah. All right.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Answer your question.
Go ahead.
All right. Well, what about housing? I mean, is that still a weak spot in the economy?
Well, it's really funny because it's still slow. It's slowing. Other spots are hot, but there's so many things that go into those numbers, and especially, I mean, you're in the middle of the cauldron here in Illinois, seeing that these taxes go up. I was just in New York and New Jersey at the end of last week, and New Jersey's real estate tax and the way that they handle their situation is very similar to Illinois. It's just killing people. I mean, so there's other outside influences that are also hurting some housing, and up until a certain point, a lot of people couldn't move because they were still underwater from the last crisis 10 years ago. And so I'm not too worried about that. And here's another thing. We were so used to it. The older you get, right, you're so used to the market getting away from you. Remember, your house in 1998 to 2006 was going up 5, 10, 10, 12% a year. So was your stock portfolio. So we were having things kind of outstrip themselves and really get away from us. I don't think this economy can do that anymore. I really, I don't think you're going to see oil or gasoline really take off. It might slowly but surely go higher, but nothing's going to run away from us. And that's why these analysts are always all worried about interest rates and how that might affect housing and how might that affect corporate profits. We're just not going to see things tear off and really. This is a great report, and it shows you that it's steady, right? Good, solid steps. Nothing's a blowout. So that's what you want to have, so we can slowly but surely have everything react and get comfortable with the numbers and not have things run away. The stock market likes things that are better or worse, not great or bad, right? Because they want to know that things can get better, or they're interested in things getting worse. That's what the stock market really reacts to. And I still think things are getting better. But you might see a little bit of a sell-off here today because folks are going to get worried how aggressive the Fed's going to be in a market that's doing well. And that's going to be a problem because you're going to start to see higher interest rates, which will compete with what older folks do with their money to put it in the stock market or put it in a safe 3.5% 10-year yield, right? So we haven't really had competition for the equity money in a long time, and now we're going to. And that could probably slow the growth of the stock market. But guess what? If we get a deal with China, the doors are going to be blown off. And that's probably why you're seeing the stock market up almost 1,000 points in, say, 4 days.
And so this is, but what you're suggesting is we're sort of a 3 yards in a cloud of dust economy. We're just kind of going forward, but at an incremental, predictable pace.
Yes, and yeah, it was a Woody Hayes. It's a Woody Hayes market, and we're not going to throw the ball. I don't think, look, when everybody was losing their minds over the last sell-off, October was difficult, right? October 3rd, we hit all-time highs. And what really shook everybody was how quickly we rejected those and tanked the market. But the Fed Chairman Powell said some things on October 3rd, which really kind of riled things. The investors got nervous about what he said about he didn't really know where the real interest rate was, and that was probably one of the bigger reasons the catalyst that the market sold off. But I kept a little eye on gold. Gold is really interesting because gold really goes higher in two scenarios. It's a place to store your money when you're worried about inflation, right? Buy a metal, and that will keep you from seeing your dollars be devalued. Or it's a place to hide your money in times of Armageddon. And usually, when we see other stock market crashes, gold will really take off. But gold really didn't budge. It went up a little bit, but boy, it didn't tell me there was anything really cataclysmic to be worried about. And it's still kind of laying there.
So does that mean we're not seeing any serious inflationary pressure, number one, and number two, that the possibility of a change in leadership of the House has already been priced in?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think the market's going to be that worried about it. But I also saw something yesterday that really caught my eye, and I actually emailed it to myself so I wouldn't forget about it. But the Nielsen ratings came out yesterday, and the Fox News channel, at any given point and any given day, morning or night, for the month of October, was attracting more viewers than CNN and MSNBC combined.
Okay.
So that's post Kavanaugh. I mean, just after Kavanaugh, he was at the end of September, kind of bled into October a little bit, and then this immigration issue. So I think that tells me a little bit that there's some interest out there, and if they're all watching those shows, maybe you get surprised with a little bit of a red wave this Tuesday.
All right. He is Scott Shellady, who's getting outside his lane and doing a little political analysis, too, but we'll let it slide. Scott, the Cow Guy, Fox Business contributor. Scott, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
All right. Have a good weekend.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.